From rules for a best of 3 to a potential new ban list, Gundam is making some changes. I sit down with my buddy Ben Ferris to discuss the future of the Gundam card game. All right, what's up everyone? It's Garrett with Talking Cards, and I'm here with Ben, the level 0 judge for One Piece. If you guys have watched my Gundam content before, you've seen Ben. Ben's a returning character, good friend of mine, and he's here today to talk about the new news we got today.
Crazy.
That there could be potential bans for the Gundam card game coming down on July 10th.
Yes.
Now, Ben, I think you're a good person to kind of have today for this conversation.
Sure.
Because in One Piece, around a similar time in the card game, I believe it was set 4, we saw some heavy bans come down in that game, you know? For example, in that game, you guys banned a lot of cards from what I like to play, Whitebeard.
Yes.
And then even though you guys limited like almost all my cards to 1, I still used that deck to win a regional and win that mat that's up there.
It's crazy.
And then you guys were like, nope, you guys can't play red anymore, pretty much. And when I say you guys, I don't mean like you specifically,
no, for
but
sure.
like, you know, the One Piece team, Bandai, and the production team and everything behind that. And that created an interesting point in the game where we had like that, they called it, you know, set 4.5 format where we did see new decks win that weren't even getting touched before.
It was like Grape Luffy, no, like Grape Dofi, yeah.
Yep. No, but you're exactly right. Yeah. That was a deck that was not getting played, and then all of a sudden it's like you guys took out the whole entire color of red, and we saw more decks get played.
It was an awesome time.
It was interesting. As a red player, I didn't enjoy it, but it was definitely interesting. And my point in relating it to One Piece is it's happening like at the exact same time.
It's very close, like the 1 year mark, right?
Yeah, and right before that 1 year anniversary, and like just as to reveal in One Piece, by set 5, we actually lifted the bans because set 5 kind of corrected itself naturally.
You had a Nell and Sokka. What else did you need, right?
And Whitebeard was still good. You know, a buddy of mine, JCM, he got top 16 at Nats. That format.
He's just kind of built different, though.
He is definitely built different. Yeah. He is, in my opinion, the best Whitebeard player. But I think that's an interesting point because the game corrected itself.
Yeah.
It really did with set 5. Do you see any corrections like that coming in Gundam? First off.
So I think that's such a large question, right? It's hard to compare One Piece and Gundam too, right? From a fundamentals perspective, you look at One Piece decks, you look at Gundam decks. If you look at One Piece decks, you have like 40 out of 50 cards as a true archetype, right?
Yeah. Nope.
You look at Gundam decks, and I have a pile of 20 level 2 cost 1 vanillas that really don't have a text. Then I have 8 level 3 cost 2, 3, 4, 3.
Yeah.
Still have no text, so there's no archetype, nothing's driven. It's kind of just like, and that like blurple deck is what I'm alluding to. You can maybe even talk about like the green blue. It's just kind of like a hodgepodge of aggro based on the fundamentals of how Gundam works.
And now with EBO1 even, every color has its own Rezel stat line.
Yes.
So I mean, that we found that vanilla stat line's pretty great.
It's great right now because it just contests the meta, right? Yeah. So the question, like your question is like, do I see this? I don't know, because Gundam is so different from a fundamental standpoint that I don't know if just like a widespread ban would do anything. I don't know what I would ban. Should things get banned? Maybe, because it would probably be a little bit more fun overall, but I don't know. You could ban certain key cards in One Piece because it could hinge on like how the deck was still a bit too powerful, taper it back. But what am I gonna ban? A bunch of vanilla?
Well, and that's my thing. I guess what I'm trying to talk about is like, One Piece was able to course correct through almost game design, if you will, and set design. You know, the game was designed a certain way, and then they built set 5 to kind of give like control decks, which to that point really didn't have much stake in the game, I guess.
There's no agency, right?
Yeah. Like as a Whitebeard player, even against like the best law players, I felt like I could go to town with them. You know what I mean? Of course, there was like 1 or 2 that could give me some trouble, and that's just because they were excellent players. But outside of that, I felt like the matchup was definitely Whitebeard favored.
Absolutely.
And my point with that is like the set was able to course correct based on the way the game's designed. I don't know if Gundam has the opportunity necessarily to have a set fix game design.
Yeah, I think
you're asking too much.
Right, I agree. I think there's some things that are just like so different in Gundam that banning won't fix anything. I think that one set, even if the cards are more powerful, if you had to pick the most powerful card in the game right now, what would you pick to be? Like, say
I got
set
2.
5.
I got 2.
Pre set 5.
I got Amuro Ray, and I think actually Neo Zeon.
okay, Neo Zeon's amazing, right? So you're talking about Leaking
insane.
card, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And you know, Amare card that was printed in beta, one of the strongest cards, right?
Amuro Ray helps you essentially win early.
Yep.
And then Neo Zeon pretty much says, I
can-
win if I get there.
Correct, right? And Neo Zeon, and well, the way Gundam is built, right? I can just play Neo Zeon in any red deck, right?
And technically, you can just build any other color.
Exactly, right? But let's use like blue-red, for example. I can play Neo Zeon, and I can play the same blue package I play in every purple deck, every blue-green deck, and then just play full frontal. And
Or red-white now.
Sure.
It's now
Exactly, right? It's just like, mid-range, early game, mid-range aggro with the top end. That if you get there, you get there. If you don't, the game still works.
Yep.
So when looking at the fundamentals point of the game, it has the top end literally doesn't matter, right? I'm just playing an aggro top end actually, because then my whole deck will become Neo Zeon. You're not gonna have a board because I play the small units.
Right.
So this is kind of where the game is built, and then I'm gonna attack you. Your shields have no attack points; they just die. I have no discourse. I can
Might not even go to my hand. Might not have trigger like we call
So,
in One Piece.
exactly, right?
But burst and Gundam.
So I just have no care. Like say I'm playing purple against a Neo Zeon deck, and you just threw three songs in your hand. I'm like, okay, well I have 5/1 two cost, 2 level 2, 1 cost, like 2 twos that are just gonna kill you because it's your top end, and it doesn't matter, right? I just don't know like what to do fundamentally with the game.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to ban. Like, should we ban Armor Ray? Should we ban these 2/2? Should we ban all the Rezel type cards? Should we ban Neo? Like, this is all right? Like, I don't know.
And I don't think we should, by the way. I think Neo Zeon should be.
But that card, anything that costs like 7 or more should not be banned. Like, literally at all, because they're never gonna get there.
We're way far away from that.
Like, we're
being a thing.
Yeah, and like these decks that are winning, they're getting first place. Like the Neo Zeon decks, like they're good, but they're of the meta share. They're so small, right? Like, is that really a problem if they're like
And the conversion rate for Blurple is still by far the highest, even though it's only I believe one or two regionals. This format is still. I hate that as a stat, right? Like, we can say it only won 1 to 2 format, but when it's making up, 40 to 50% of a meta at a regional, that is enough to take notice as far as or like how it's worded in that announcement today. It was about specific card use.
Yes.
Like, how many decks is Amuro
I didn't catch
Ray
that.
in? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think when they went at Worlds last year, was it Armor Ray was almost in every single deck?
Yeah, I believe
it
it
was crazy.
It was crazy. It was a crazy stat.
Yeah, it was about 90%. But like, so I'm curious to see. I doubt Armor Ray would get hit. There's an SP coming out, right? Like,
and to speak on that point, I think it'd be weird, and I don't want to see that because Armor Ray needs to be potted to all my Gundam cards, and I should be punished for wanting to play these Gundam cards because, Blue Repair Gundam, excuse me, is fantastic.
You're talking about Gramps, right?
Yeah, Gramps is fantastic, and then the other one that can ping one is still a great card. Can draw a card, Then
you have the untap one. You return that right away. Like, there's a lot of cool things, right? And like banning a palette seems super awkward, right? Because then banning a palette that doesn't have a reprint right now.
Now you could do really a One Piece and then literally print a new one like they did with Sokka, and it became the same card but not the same card, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely an option, kind of ban but remake, right? Like you're alluding to. It's cool, but do you think that's what's gonna happen right now? Because I don't.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think it's a bad idea. Like, you could lock it to Gundam or Earth Federation cards, or because Amuro did pilot multiple things. I wouldn't mind it being Earth Federation specific.
So Armor and always that'd be a really cool thing, right? Like, what if you just errata the card is only usable only can be paired with this type, right? Like, maybe Tara could only be with Zeon, or I guess technically some other stuff, and
Yeah.
But
so I think that would be okay. But I also just want to capitalize on the fact that, while we're talking about game design in this section, before we move to explicit what I want to see from bans, or what I expect to see is the better term, because really, I don't think bans usually fix anything. There are times when bans are absolutely necessary. I'll look to Fusion World Set 2 Goku Leader.
Topco needed to go.
100%. Right? I mean, I'm going to throw up some graphics here and look at this meta share. I mean, it's crazy. The conversion rate is insane.
Yep. It kind of basically ruined the game, honestly. Fusion World was one of the most hyped.
It was the worst thing for it.
Yeah,
I mean, set 1 was hype. Everyone was so excited. And then Topco came out.
It just lasted too long.
And it really hurt. I mean, the game's still trying to recover from it. And I think it finally has started to.
Yeah, I think so.
It's healing.
But that's a whole other video, right?
Right. But my point is, that's a place where ban was perfect.
Yep.
There's nothing in this game that's Topco.
I agree.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's fair, right?
And that's why I don't love to see bans right now in Gundam.
Yeah.
And the best part about Gundam is the deck building and taking out cards from the card pool that would be really cool to build decks with, or Amuro does serve a function. resting is very common in other games.
Yes.
Like this is not like a,
Yeah.
what it does is not insane. It's how it does it and what else can do that. And everything else is jumping through 500 hoops to
do the
something.
same exact thing.
Yes.
Exactly, right? And I think that's amazing. Armor is just such a powerful card
Yeah.
that it just makes itself so like opportunistic to play, and is why
Yes.
US is one of the best cards, right? The thing it comes down to, like, how do you fix this, right? Is it bans or is it fundamental game design, like we just talked about? And it seems like Bandai is choosing to maybe try to implement something smaller, like a ban. Will a ban truly fix it? I don't think so. Like you just said.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's going to be, it'll decrease the meta share. I don't necessarily think it's going to fix the same issues. Whatever they ban or whatever they change might alter the deck building, which is one of the coolest parts about it.
Right.
But I still think you have a lot of smaller things where you might not have Warple taking 50% of the meta. You'll have two other low weenie aggro decks maybe.
Or now it all becomes red-white because there's nothing to rest blockers.
Correct.
And Neo Zeon has the best end game. So
Hey,
like,
maybe I just,
is that a better thing? Like, and this is my last point I'll make on game design. People complain the most about what in this game? 2/2s and blockers.
Yep.
Okay.
and not drawing cards.
One way, well, yeah, that to me is the fundamental biggest issue with Gundam is you don't see enough cards consistently. But the other thing is, if you don't play other Bandai games, you don't realize how common blocker is. Gundam has made it special by pretty much making it exclusive to white. I think that's a huge game design mistake. I think we need to get to a place where weenie chump blockers are almost in everything, or like a Livrith, if you will, like a Rezels and everything. A Livrith is almost in every color. And then I think blocking feels more like normal. Like in Future World and One Piece, you see a blocker, you're not like, oh, blocker slop, yada, yada, yada. No, you're just playing the game and you're trying to survive. But blockers feel like, have like such this negative connotation in Gundam that it's weird. And I think it's because it's exclusive to that color almost.
That's true. I think back to the beta format where you just played blue-white blockers, right?
Right.
And it just was
And then green-white.
Yeah. And then green-white.
Yeah, and I mean, so I don't want to, I guess my point is with the Amuro thing, like, I don't want to get to a point where we're just playing white now. Like, white's the only color that can be used because it's the only ones with blockers. Because then you run into your other issue of like this weird, awkward game design thing, and we're still forcing this same problem.
Yeah, it's just shifting, right? We're going from Warple, like early game slop, to everything late game slop, and every game is going to go to time, especially with that crazy announcement at BO3, right?
But next, let's move over, because we've talked about game design enough, to potential bans. We've alluded to some of it. We've talked about what we think cards could be targeted and yada. But let's just get it all out there.
Yeah.
Bans. Amuro is a target.
Yeah,
he'd have to be at this point.
He has to be on their list. So it's gonna be like the top card of every watch list, or like anything, like just based on use rate, right? Since you harped on that earlier, I would say it definitely has a super high use rate. If you can't build blue without armor, really, it just kind of like fills every niche.
Another card that I think is a little too dangerous, if you will, is Mikazuki, in the sense that once again, we don't see it needing a typing or anything for its effect. Like just paying 1 damage and boosting stats. You give me that in any game, and that sounds pretty promising in any game where like damage is static and stays on a card. And my point too is like, Mika has a lot of insane links. It's not even like
for no reason.
Mika's just like Amuro half the time, and it doesn't even have to link to Gundam, and it just will go on anything. Mika is so different, and the fact that like when you play blue purple, it will always have 8 amazing link targets in adapt, and then in first form. Like these are like insane targets.
For no reason, right?
If we're playing purple-white and now the game has shifted because Amuro's gone, now Lupus is also a target, and we're gonna run at least 3 of that card probably. So now we have 11 leak targets for Mika, which is already an insane card, and we're giving these cards rush, if you will, and that's insane.
So going back to the start of this section, you said what cards you back. You listed 2 pilots, right? Are pilots the problem?
So my problem is the way this game has been designed so far. Pilots are such a necessity in that you don't get rush in this game any other way. There is no like, everything has summoning sickness no matter what, unless you have a pilot. So it creates this need automatically for pilots, which is fun. It's cool, and it's like, goes with the lore. And that's something that I want to talk about too, because like, I think lore driving Bandai games is one of the coolest things about Bandai games. It's why, for me personally, I love jumping around from Bandai games, you know? I like the lore of it, and they make it work so well, in my opinion. So I don't think pilots are the problem per se. I think it's the fact that Amuro and Mika feel so damaging because of how they can be played. They can just be paired. They don't need to be linked, and they're so effective. It's never a dead card in my hand.
Oh yeah.
Take, for example, we both said Neo Zeong's a great card. Full Frontal's dead. That is a dead card in my hand until I pair that sucker, or until I'm trying to stat boost, I guess, just for the sake of it, really. Yeah. But outside of that, that is a dead card in my hand that is rotting. That's called hand rot, like literally. Where like Amuro and Mika can be so effective by turn 4.
Yeah,
and in Gundam, you get to turn 4 like that because your opening turns are either 2/2s attacking or just slamming blockers. So it's like, that turn 4 is probably the most important turn in the Gundam card game.
Yeah. It's where you get to go.
It's where you find out how the game's going.
You go Gramps rest, and you're like, wow, I think I just lost.
Yeah.
Because you just immediately lost like all agency, or it's like, oh, I don't have it.
Yeah. So I think that's one of my big things is like, how do we change the conversation? I don't necessarily want everything to be about like banning pilots, because I think pilots are such like a fundamental lore thing, such a fundamental game design thing for how you built your game. It's just, how do I do other things as consistently as what these 2 cards are doing?
Yeah.
Because they don't mean anything to be consistent. They just need to show up in my hand.
Yeah, they're just the best pilots there are, right? And that's just the thing. There's just you look at the card pool, is like everything is like, when linked do this, when linked do this, when paired with this unit, so it should just say linked, but it's not a linked unit. And it just feels like everything has like 30 restrictions, and then you have these very strong cards that just kind of work perfectly, right?
So that brings me to my next point. Instead of like outright bans, and in other games we've seen like pair bans. Like, oh, so this would be weird, but let's say Amuro can't be in a deck with Barbados First Form, or with Mikazuki even, or with anything like that, like, or with Char or anything like that. That'd actually be funny, because like Amuro and Char shouldn't be together in the first one.
But then become friends.
Then they become, you know, but that could be cool.
Yeah, so I guess for everyone, if you never know what a pair ban is, I'm going to talk about One Piece. If anyone played One Piece, there's a current couple pair bans. There's where you can't use a certain event card called Quasar with a character called Borsellino. They just can't be the same deck. Both cards are 100% playable, just not together, right? Yeah, there's other ones. There's Borsellino Quasar, then you have the Blurple Luffy with Big Mom and Katakuri have a pair ban where you can only use either Big Mom plus Luffy or Katakuri plus Luffy. And if you go to a different game, you go to Union Arena, right? So just Bandai World, so not trying to make this crazy, not just One Piece. They have pair bans in there based on, I want to say it is JJK has a pair ban. You just have, it's not a thing that's unheard of. It allows you to still play the cards, so players don't feel like, oh, I have this awesome card and now I can't play it. I just can't play it together with something else, you know? So I think pair bans are really cool because they don't eliminate anything, right?
Right.
And I think that's something that players want, because they don't want to purchase a card or trade for a card, and then they just like...
And that's another thing, like, I don't want to affect the deck building of the game, because that's like the coolest thing you've set up so far. And I know that's what drew a lot of people's, you know, interest into the
What made me like the game, I wasn't attached to a leader. The deck building allowed us to like succeed early on in the game, right? Because it's super good and very niche compared to the Bandai sector, when you have such a very, I would say we have pretty strict deck building rules compared to a lot of other card games.
Like when I won the Eagle's Nest event with Green White, that was something me and you were just at a bar talking about. Like, one of our favorite decks in Lorcana was Red Blue. And we're like, well, what if we just ramp up to Wing Zero, but we block the whole time to get there, and we kind of don't care what happens. Like, we just let some of these hits happen, and we're not like too aggressive, and we're just like waiting for that turn. There's always a turn in a card game where you feel like, I just got my agency back, and I can kind of just take over.
It was when I had 8 mana and I got to slam down 0. And I just was like,
or on 6 sometimes. Coming down with that Wing Hero or a Death Scythe duo was just...
Death Scythe duo was big. But yeah, there's just a lot of things with deck building allowed that makes Gundam so good. And that also allows these like rogue decks to do very well in these events, because you just have such cool deck building, right? So it would be really unfortunate for a true ban to occur that would take a card completely out of the pool. That it makes these rogue decks good, right? Because sure, the best deck plays it, but what if the rogue deck that can win maybe once every, like, can top consistently but never like really get there? You just eliminate it, right?
Right. Everything we've said so far about bans, like, I'd be okay, I think, with pair bans as opposed to like strict bans, because like the pair ban at least says, you know, this card's not a dead card in my collection, it can still be used. It's up to me to actually find a new way to use it. And I think that's a creative spot to be coming from.
But so could we have limits?
could have limits.
Right.
I mean, they didn't say. I mean, last time they did that with Corsica,
right? So do you think this limits could be in the picture? I know it's somewhat different, and then we talk about this a little bit later, but it's just something that popped in my head.
I mean, they did this in One Piece at this exact time. We got limits. Whitebeard, 9 cost went down to 1. Marco Blocker went down to 1.
That was great. Yeah.
And this was all in set 4. And Radbeam went down to 1.
Radbeam was actually big because that's a good example of like you have a really great deck in Whitebeard. It just makes sense that you have Whitebeard and Marco, which only really were part of the Whitebeard deck, but Radbeam, Radical Beam, was a card they played any red deck.
Zoro, Luffy.
Essentially, yeah, it was broken.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good example of like that got hit affects everything versus you play things that are like really only like a true core idea.
Yeah.
And it's like those things might not be exactly what you want to hit, like what I was alluding to earlier, but like what would you limit if you could limit something? Not ban, not pair ban.
I think that's my problem is that like I don't care for limits, to be honest with you, because it just pisses me off. Because let's say you are 1 Amuro, right? And on your turn 4, you play Gundam Amuro against me. I'm just so frustrated that I just got high rolled and that you saw your 1 of Amuro on curve to pair with Grandpa and probably just won this game because you took tempo. Like, that's such a frustrating way to play competitively. It really is.
I'm with you, right? I'm on the same page, right? I hate limits. I want to either pay 0 of a card or 4 of a card as much as possible, or bring it down to deck building. Like I want it to be in my control. That's my choice to do it. Not being, I can only play 1 of the most powerful cards in my deck, because then, like you said, it comes down to, in the mirror they drew the nuts. I did it.
Right.
And then I'm just gonna be annoyed. I'm like, well, I'm not lucky like they are. I didn't have the opportunity to play the card. And it's a whole new game.
And that's the quickest way to frustrate yourself in a tournament, is to just find your opponents who are luckier than you are.
It just happens, right?
So I would rather that not happen. I'm not a big fan of limits. No, I'm not. Nope. So I think that says everything I want to say about bans. I'm not huge on them unless they are absolutely necessary and are going to legit fix a game. And I don't think there's a card here we could outright ban that fixes anything. But my point is, like, I don't think bans, unless they're going to fix your game completely, I don't think they're necessary.
That's reasonable. Yeah, I personally think right now the game's actually in a decently healthy spot outside the meta share that Blurple controls. If you want to throw a blue-green, it's definitely too high, right? And so something like eliminates that for the overall health of the game, because I think it just creates a very unfun environment where every deck you build, you just have to consider that you're going to play 50%, 60% of your matches against this.
Yeah. Nope, I think that's a great point. But if you watched this long, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Give us your comments, you know? I'll be reading them. I don't know if Ben will check them out, but I want to know what you guys think. Is best of 3 gonna fix the game? Is our bans gonna fix the game? Do you want to see pair bans? Do you want to see no bans? Like, I want to hear it, you know? I love the engagement. It's really fun to just hear what you guys are thinking, because my perspective can get so linear with the people that I talk to sometimes. You know what I mean?
It's a hive mind.
Yeah, you're kind of like in your own hive, it feels like, in these Facebook chats and all these other things. So, comment down below. Love to hear what you guys think. And if you guys enjoy this content, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.